8th grade. I suppose we'll do ourselves a little bit of correcting on fair pretest so you can prep yourself for the test, which I believe will be on Wednesday. So here we go. I'll do what I can. I'm going to present said screen right now. Let's take care of a little business here. You may want to jot down some notes, just, you know, because it's probably the wise thing to do. So here we go. Boy, they don't get any easier than starting off easy. Look, graphing at 2.5, children, pretty simple here. You don't have to solve anything. It's negative 2.5, and there's no equal sign, so it's an open circle. So all you need to do is this. Here's Mr. 2.5, negative x is greater than that. Notice how the greater than sign has an arrow like that. That is also the side you colored. This is the side where everything gets bigger. Everything gets greater than on this side over here. Very good. Look at that. 10 seconds and one problem done. The bag contains 3 red and 3 blue marbles. Find the probability of drawing a red marble, keeping it, then drawing another red marble. Write that probability as a fraction in simplest form. Well, let me break it down for you here, children. Here we go. We've got a bag with 3 red and 3 blue. I will put my blues in first, just because, and 3 reds. Here's everything you need to know about this problem. First of all, I'm going to write this. I want a probability of picking a red and then another red. But the most important thing they tell you is this, is that you do not put it back in, you keep that red marble. So here's how that's going to happen. Everybody always gets the first part right. Probability of picking a red marble, well, there are 6 total marbles. 3 of them are red. So there's your probability of picking the first one as a red marble. But the problem comes with the second pick is this. You've already picked a red marble. There are no longer 3 red marbles in there. If you keep that red marble, it changes your probability for the second pick. Now you only have 5 marbles total in the bag, and only 2 of them are red. So this is your probability of your second pick. The probability of both of them happening are their probabilities multiplied together. I'm going to do, you know, you could have made this is the same as the fraction 1/2. This 2 and this 2 will cross off. You end up with a probability of 1/5. 1/5. You could have multiplied, not done any reducing, you would have gotten 6/30. You'll still get 1/5. There is your probability of such things. Now moving along, find the mean, median, mode of the value data set below, rounded to the nearest whole number. Well, let's see here. You're always instructed to do this, to put them in order from least to greatest, though you don't really need to do that for the mean, which is the average, but let's do that real fast here. We've got a 38. We have 2 39s. We have a 41, a 42, 2 and 3 44s. Holy pajeebies. And a 57. Holy, that one kind of goes out there. So starting from whatever there, first of all, the mean is the average. Ladies and gentlemen, I suppose I'm just going to pull out my calculator here or my cell phone, because I don't want to spend all of your time nor all of my time doing such things. Interestingly enough, I cannot seem to get to my calculator here. Hold on a second. 2 seconds. I will find it. Here we go. So it is 38 plus 2 39s plus a 41 plus a 42 plus 3 44s plus a 57. And according to my thing, and I'll probably do it again, I get 388. 388, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 9 goes at 388. What? 4 is 36. 28 would be 3, which is 27. Now I get 9 goes into 10 only once, so the whole number should be 43. So my mean should be 43. Does that look about right? It does, because I got all those low and highs. We'll call that good for right now. Maybe if I added those wrong, because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, calculators do not make you mistake proof. If I type something in wrong on that, I'm going to get a wrong answer for that, but let's call it that. I'm also looking for the median, and obviously median is the middle number. How many numbers did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the middle number of 9 is the fifth number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 42. And the mode is the one that happens the most. Oops, mode most, and that would be 44. Look at 43, 42, and 44 seem to be the numbers I am looking for. Problem number 4. Problem number 4. This gets a little goofy for you, but eventually you kind of realize this. The factors are what's getting multiplied together. The coefficients are the number part of this. Now here's what you must understand. If you have a 2 on the bottom, okay, what is the number coefficient of this thing? Well, if the 2 is on the bottom, the number coefficient is 1/2, because you can't, there's no way you can write this with just a fraction line and a 2. And I don't want the letter with it, because that letter is not part of my coefficient. So if there's nothing on top and a number on the bottom, your coefficient, your number coefficient is 1/2, 1/2. The other factor then would be y. If you multiply 1/2 times y, you're going to get y/2. So there's your coefficients. Problem number 5, if you're simplifying this, this is the same thing as the square root of 36 over the square root of 49, and those are both perfect squares. You do end up with 6/7. Can't be reduced. Man, this is an easy test. Some of these problems are fantastically easy. Problem number 6, my least favorite of all things, but you just have to put your nose to the grindstone and do it. So this is distributive property. I am going to multiply each one of these 3 terms by that xy over a. So here we go. If I multiply these 2 tops together, I get x squared, because x times x is x squared. I get y times y is y squared. Z has nobody, so it just stays there. On the bottom, I get a and b. And I can leave those, because that's all hunky-dory, everything's positive. For the second term, I put this over 1. I multiply my xy times the top. I end up with a 3. The a does not have any other letters to combine with, but the x has another x over there, so it's x squared. There's 2 x's, and then you have a y, and that's all over a. And if you notice, you've got the same thing on top as on bottom, so in the end, we're going to cross these off, because that's simplifying. And then minus, again, put this over 1. You multiply xy times b squared. They don't combine, so it's, oops, I was going to write it as xy b squared, xy b squared, and that's over a. There's really not a whole lot of combining you can do. Let's just rewrite it. The book would probably put it in this form. The first term stays as is, x squared y squared z over ab. The second term, you just have a 3x squared y. And for the third term, they probably would put the b squared first, just because they put it alphabetically. B squared xy all over a. I believe that is what the book would get for said fair answer. Problem number 7. Problem number 7. It would be wise probably for you this whole thing gets squared. So I would probably, if I were you, I would write 8x cubed y to the 5th, and then I would multiply it by itself because that's what squared is. And what do we get? 8 times 8 is 64. X to the 3rd times x to the 3rd is x to the 6th. And y to the 5th times y to the 5th is y to the 10th. And that would be it. Remember, when you multiply letters, same bases together, you add exponents together. Add them exponents together. And then down to problem number 8, which says to factor them completely. Now, if it says step number 1 is I have to find the greatest common factor, and I will break this down all the way to the very beginning. Some of you can do this faster, but if we're looking for the greatest common factor, we prime factorize this, which means I get 3 times A times A times B times B times B times B times B, 5 B's. Here I get a 3 times 4 A's and 3 B's. Okay, I am looking for the greatest common factor, so I need to see what factors they have in common. Well, they both have a single 3. They both, this one has 2 A's, this one has 4 A's. What they have in common is only 2 A's. What do they have in common as far as B's go? Well, they both have at least 3 B's. So my greatest common factor is 3 A squared B to the 3rd. Now, I'm not done because it said to factor that, so I'm doing reverse distributive property and taking this out of this first term. What am I left with? Well, the only thing I'm missing, I have my 3 and my A squared, but I need to go from B cubed to B to the 5th, so I need a B squared. That's all I need for the first term. For the second term, I already have the 3, now I have the B cubed, but I need to go from A squared to A to the 4th, so I need an A squared. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the greatest common factor, and this is taking it out. So I need to show all of that work. Problem number 9 and 10. Oh, a couple slope problems. This really should be an easy test, by the way. I don't see too many issues with this. This, to me, is not super complicated. No matter how you make the triangle here, look for 2 places where that line crosses some axis. You know, it crosses here, so we can use this triangle here. Remember, slope is the rise over run, which is how far up and down over how far across it is. And this triangle is going uphill, so it's positive slope. It is 2 high over 1 over. So the slope is positive 2 over 1, or simply just 2. It has a slope of 2. Problem number 10. Problem number 10. I would certainly write down the slope formula. You could graph it on a coordinate, I guess, but why? And remember, slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Parentheses will make the teacher happy. There's my y's over my x's. I would label these as my x2, y2, x1, y1. So y sub 2 is 3 minus y sub 1, which is 5, over my x sub 2, which is 9, minus my x sub 1, which is 1. If I do that, 3 minus 5 is a negative 2, and 9 minus 1 is 8. And there's my slope. If I just reduce it, it is negative 1/4 slope. Hip hip hooray. Page 2. Problem number, I gotta get up here. The equation y equals negative 2x plus 1 is in slope intercept form. Graph it on a coordinate grid. You fortunately will have a grid. I don't, but this is the way it looks. It doesn't get any easier than this. I can't draw too much in the way of straight lines here, but I'll try a little better than that. First of all, a slope intercept means this is where it intercepts the y-axis at +1. So we start there, and the slope is a -2/1. Remember, slope, the top number is how far up. It goes up 2 and over 1. But it has to have a negative slope, so it has to go downhill. So I have to pick this one over, and that is my line. I apologize for that line, but that's the best me can do with this little board I'm using to do this. Problem number 12, a bookstore marks up the price of paper books they purchase at $6 each. What is the markup and the new price of the paperback? Here it goes. We talked about this in making a percent box thing. When it is percent markup and markdown, the difference in what we used to do is this. You are starting with the original price. This is a markup, so you have to put plus the markup. And then you get your final price. And remember, the original is the 100%. Okay, because that's the original. This is the actual. And then the markup is how much it's getting marked up. And this said it's marking it up by 60%. So my final price, I have to pay 160% of the original. And the $6 here was the original price of the book. It was $6. So here is where that is your whole percent thing. You just need to figure out the rest of such things. It doesn't matter which way you do this. I will do it like such. Okay, I'm going to figure out how much of a markup it is, which means I'm going to make these equal fractions. 100 over 60 equals $6 over what number? I would probably get rid of this, reduce this fraction, make it 10 over 6. I would probably keep it like that and then just solve this by proportion way. Remember cross products. 10 times n equals 6 times 6, which is 36. Now I kept it like that because it's easy to divide by 10. I divide by 10. Divide by 10, and I'm going to use decimals here. 36 divided by 10 is 3.6, which we were talking money. So 3.6 is $3.60. That is my markup. That is how much the markup is. The markup is $3.60, which means the final price is $6 plus $3.60 is $9.60. Final price, $9.60. Not bad for a book, but that's what it is. Problem number 13, children, don't let this one confuse you either. Another fantastically easy problem. They are simply asking you, when is this undefined? When we talk undefined, we talk about when will you get a 0 down there? When will you get a 0? And the simplest way to figure that out is just to make an equation from that and say, when will I get? When is this equal to 0? Because that's the number I cannot have. And if I solve this, I subtract my 15 over 5a then equals -15. I divide by 5, divide by 5. A equals -3. Technically, in this case, a cannot equal -3 because that's what makes it undefined, but that is your answer. I would accept it. Either way you stated it, but you're looking for what a can't be, and that's what a cannot be, -3. Again, I'm going to reiterate, this should be the world's easiest test for you. Most of these problems are just super, super simple. Scientific notation for problem number 14. If you remember the rules of scientific notation is number 1, make it between 1 and 10, which means I need to take this decimal and move it right here. I make it 5.6. I write down times 10. Now, because this is a decimal number, it's a negative exponent. Negative exponent. And how many places did I move the decimal? 3 places. 5.6 to the times 10 to the -3 times 10 to the -3. Problem number 15, ladies and gentlemen. Oof, you're going to have to excuse me 2 seconds because my math book is up on the podium up here. I'll try to talk to you while I'm moving up here, but I don't remember what that sequence formula is right off the top of my head. That's why it would probably do you well to write it down so that you have it. But there is that whole a sub 1, n minus 1. I think I probably could remember that. This is not one thing that happens that we do a lot. So I'm going to look in lesson number 34. Thank you for your patience. And find the sequence formula. There it is right here. Here we go. Writing this down for you, we get a sub n. Sorry about that. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus d over, oh, I'm sorry, n minus 1. N minus 1 times the common difference. And again, remembering this, remember these are subscripts, they are just labels. This is a to the nth term. This is a sub 1 is the first term, and the common difference is 5, which really, this is just going to be pretty simple here. This tells you if I am looking for the first term, I already know the first term. Wow, well, I don't even know if we really needed this formula now that I think of it. This is the first term, and the common difference is 5, okay, which means you are simply going to add 5 4 times to this. We could put this in this, but we would just keep going with the second term, the third term, the fourth term. They're not asking, they're just asking you to take the starting point, which is -4, and have a common difference of 5. So what would be the first 4 terms? Well, the first term is -4. You add 5 to it, you're going to get 1. You add 5 to it, you're going to get 6. And you add 5 to it, you're going to get 11. Those are the first 4 terms. So sorry I had to jump all the way up there. I should have read the whole problem first, and then I could have saved yourself about 5 seconds of your time. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to some of the harder stuff. This one is probably a little more difficult. If we read the problem, car rental company A charges $12 per day plus 25 cents per mile. Car rental property B charges $21 plus 10 cents per mile. For what miles is the cost per day the same? It's a beautiful thing, ladies, but here's what you have to understand. I am looking for when their costs are the same, which means I am looking for when their prices will be equal. Now let's understand what's happening here. Okay, $12 per day plus 25 cents per mile. Okay, $12 per day gets charged no matter what. So whatever it is, it's going to be plus $12. Okay, we're doing 25 cents per mile. So I am taking 25 cents times every mile. So I'll put the letter M there, plus $12. When will that equal 10 cents a mile? Plus this time you're paying $21 a day. So the deal is this, this one's going to be a better deal if you drive a lot of miles, because this is a cheaper price per mile, but it's a higher price per day. This one is a more expensive cost per mile, but it's cheaper per day. So they want to know when's your break-even point on that. So all you are going to do is solve this for the letter M, and everybody will be happy. So to do that, we just subtract 12 to get it to the other side. I subtract 12. I end up with 9 over here. I move my 10M over there by subtracting 0.110. I subtract 0.10. I get 0.15M equals 9. you know, however you want to do this, we're just going to divide 9 by 0.15. Or let's just multiply both sides by 100. That makes this 15m equals 900. 15m equals 900. And remember, the letter m is how many miles. For what number of miles? And that's what we're solving for. So I just divide 900 by 15. Let's see how many times. What is that? 6. 15 goes into 96 times, and then there's a 0. So 60. 60 miles is your break-even point. If you drove 60 miles that day, you would get charged the exact same amount of money, which I believe if you did the math would be $27. So 60 times 10 cents is $6, which would give you $27 there. If you have 60 quarters, I believe that's $15, and you'd add that to the 12. So 60 miles, make them equal. 17, the ratio of men to women in an exercise class is 4 to 5. The class has 27 students in all, believe it or not. We just did this in 7th grade, so you should be well familiar with this. Here's what it would look like. Again, this is a ratio box. Check how easy this is. Here's my ratio box. I am comparing men to women in total. Is that what it says? Yeah. I'm putting men first because it's given men first. Ladies, don't get upset with me. I'm just doing it in the order it is. I am not trying to be chauvinistic here. And there's total. This is my ratio, and this is my actual. Men to women, 4 to 5. 4 men, 5 women. That is a total of 9 people. 4 plus 5 is 9. In the class that has 27 total students, that's my actual number. How many women are there? It's a pretty simple one. How do I go from 9 to 27 over here? Multiply by 3, so 5 times 3 is 15. There would be 15 women in that exercise class. 15 women. Number 18, owners of a furniture store want to know what people think of their store. They survey every 10th person who enters and buys something at the store. What is the possible bias of the survey? Well, I suppose there's, well, the biggest bias, they want to know what people think of their store. First of all, part of the bias, the biggest bias, is they only surveyed somebody who bought something. So obviously people who don't like the store probably aren't going to buy anything. So I would say that's probably what they're going for. I would say another bias is that they're only surveying people that come to their store. If they really wanted to survey, they should go out to Walmart and see what people think of their store at Walmart. But the issue here is they only surveyed people who actually bought something. You could have a whole bunch of sort of stuff there. Number 19, my least favorite problem here. It doesn't say to solve the inequality. So I guess this is just going to be this. 20. This is the greater than sign, so is greater than 6. Well, I would probably say if you're going to want it the best way to say this mathematically, then the sum of 6 and a number. There are multiple ways that you could say this. 6 added to x. Some sounds a little bit more mathematical. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, problem number 20. You can talk to John Daffenberg. He loves to talk about converse, inverse, contrapositive, contradictions, blah, 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 blah. But to me, this is not really something I want to spend a whole lot of my time on at this point in my life. So hopefully, like I said, I thought that this was a relatively simple test. Certainly you can jot yourselves down. Certainly you can watch this more than once, but I believe we will probably have the test on Wednesday because we got winter room on Friday. So thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great day.